Hey everyone, it's Kenji. We're going to make pasta alla matriciana. Pasta alla matriciana, which is Italian for amatriciana to this pasta. Amatriciana to this pasta, Chen. Chen might need some, just a bit of corralling while we're working with the guanciale. All right, so if you've been following along, you probably have already seen the pasta alla gricia recipe. Pasta alla gricia is like sort of the ancestor of all Roman pasta dishes, and pasta alla matriciana is from a town near Rome, but you know, the dish has evolved into a real Roman classic. But it's essentially pasta alla gricia made almost exactly the same way, but with the addition of tomatoes. So we're going to start with some guanciale. You could use pancetta if you want. You could use salt pork. You could even use bacon if you want. Going to get a little bit of water in that pan just to get the fat rendering. Okay. And we're going to heat that up. And as that water kind of boils away, that pancetta fat is going to render out. And then the pancetta is going to start to crispen it. All right. So we also got a can of tomatoes. These are whole peeled San Marzano tomatoes. I almost always use whole peeled tomatoes just because by starting with whole peeled tomatoes, you can crush them to whatever consistency you like. That said, if you have a brand of crushed tomatoes that you like the consistency of, you can absolutely use those. I'm cooking 8 ounces of pasta, so to that I'm going to use about half this can. Okay, something like that. And then we're going to poke a hole in each tomato so that they don't pop like a balloon and squirt everywhere. And then just squeeze them through fingers like this. You could chop them by hand. You could use a immersion blender if you like, but I like the texture that hand squashed tomatoes gives you. So similar to Turkish menemen in Turkey, where people debate whether there should be onions or garlic or any other allium added to this dish. There's also debate about whether there should be wine added to this dish. So at its most core, at its most basic, the dish is just rendered guanciale, tomatoes, black pepper, and pecorino, all emulsified with some pasta water. But we are going to skip the onions today. And I generally like adding wine. I don't have any white wine here today, so I'm going to use a little bit of sake instead. All right, so I'm just going to let this guanciale render out. It'll take a couple minutes, so I'll come back when that is ready. Okay, so I'll see you guys again in a couple minutes. All right, so our guanciale is mostly rendered here. We want it to get nice and brown and crisp. All right, I think right around there is good. Brown and crispy on the exterior, but still a little nice and chewy and juicy and soft on the middle. That's one of the nice things I find about, guanciale versus pancetta. Guanciale has more fat, so a higher ratio of fat to lean, but the fat is also kind of distributed more nicely in guanciale, so the meat is like kind of more marbled. So in the same way that like a Wagyu beef is more tender than a less fatty beef because of the way the fat is distributed. Similarly, guanciale is going to be sort of a little more tender, a little more melt in your mouth compared to pancetta. All right, so we've got our guanciale fat. We're going to get a decent amount of black pepper in there, coarsely ground, about a teaspoon or so. Let that kind of bloom in there. That'll tame the flavor. And if you've made pasta alla gricia, you basically know all these steps. Really, the only differences here are what we're about to do. So I'm going to deglaze. You can deglaze with white wine. You can deglaze with nothing if you want, but I'm going to do a little, just a touch of sake. Let the alcohol evaporate off. And wine just makes the whole dish a little bit sort of lighter in flavor. Okay, then we'll get our tomatoes in there. All right. I'm using bucatini. This dish can be made with spaghetti, can be made with tonarelli. You could also do it with like a short pasta, although something like rigatoni is more common for a carbonara or alla gricia, but you could absolutely use it for this dish. It'll be just fine. All right, so I'm going to go into not too much water. Basically just enough to cover up that pasta because we want the pasta water to stay nice and concentrated and starchy. Okay? And this bucatini, I don't know how long it takes to cook, probably like 9 or 10 minutes, but we're going to pull it out a couple minutes early so that we could finish it in the sauce. These Roman pasta dishes, so Pasta alla gricia is sort of like the base recipe, you know, which is just guanciale, pecorino, black pepper, and pasta water. If you add tomato to it, it becomes Amatriciana. If you add egg yolks to it, it becomes carbonara. And if you take out the guanciale and just use the cheese, it becomes cacio e pepe. It's sort of like if you're a Mars candy bar aficionado, you know, like a Three Musketeers is just nougat that's coated with chocolate, and a Milky Way is like a Three Musketeers but with caramel added to it, and a Snickers is like a Milky Way but with some peanuts added to it as well. So it's like you have one base thing, and just by recombining some of the additions, you get all different kinds. Oh, and what's the one that's just caramel and peanuts with no nougat? Payday has I think the outside is coated in peanuts. I know that it does take a lot of peanuts to make a payday. Do you remember that song? It takes a lot of peanuts, do, do. It takes a lot of peanuts, do, do. And if you really like peanuts, do, do, do. You're gonna love payday bars.
I hope we get paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna let that pasta finish cooking, and then I'll come back and we'll finish this dish up. It's real easy. So I'll see you in about a few minutes. All right, so our pasta is shy of al dente. This water, by the way, very lightly seasoned with salt and MSG. Don't want to go too heavy on seasoning when you're making a dish like this, because we're going to finish it off in the pan. And if you season the pasta water too much, it'll get too salty as it reduces. But, all right, so we're going to get the pasta in the pan. Going to add a ladle of pasta water. And then we're just going to simmer it over the highest heat we got. You know, the reasons why you feel like sometimes restaurant pasta comes out tastier than home-cooked pasta, it can, but you know, the two main reasons that I can think of are, first of all, like in a restaurant, they're cooking pasta in a pasta machine, either that or a big pot on the stovetop with a bunch of baskets, so they're cooking batch after batch of pasta in there. So over the course of the night, the pasta water gets kind of starchier and starchier. You know, one of my very first restaurant jobs was the pasta station at a northern Italian restaurant, but you know, as the night goes on, the pasta water gets starchier and starchier, and so the sauce actually emulsifies better. So if you're going to an Italian restaurant that specializes in pasta, if you go towards the end of the night, you're probably getting better emulsified pasta sauces that stick to the pasta better than at the beginning of the night. The other reason is that restaurant burners just tend to be hotter than home burners, and so emulsions are actually much easier to form because you have more vigorous bubbling, and that mechanical action of the bubbles kind of moving through the sauce really gives you a nice, stable emulsion. All that to say, though, that you can absolutely get excellent results at home using less water for the pasta and making sure you use a bronze cut pasta that has a nice sort of chalky surface, and always using the highest heat you can when you're finishing the pasta in the sauce. All right, so we're going to let this cook down. At this stage, the pasta was almost al dente, but since we've added it to this kind of thick, acidic tomato sauce, that actually slows down the cooking time. And so what would have taken another minute or two in the pasta water on the stovetop is actually going to take a few minutes in the sauce here. So that gives us a little bit of time to sort of play around with it, make sure that our seasoning is right, make sure that our emulsion is forming nicely. Let me taste one. Getting there. All right, that's looking nicely emulsified, like it's nicely coating the pasta. Tasted it, it could use a little bit more salt and MSG. I'm not going to add too much because we are going to be adding the pecorino in there, which is going to increase its saltiness. A little bit more black pepper too. All right, this stage I'll turn it off the heat. One final little ladle of pasta water. And we'll go in with a big shower pecorino. You could use Parmesan if you want. You have my Parmesan to use Parmesan. All right, and once your cheese is in there, no more heat so that you don't clump it up, and just lots of stirring and tossing so that it melts evenly, emulsifies. All right, we'll get most of our crispy guanciale back in there. Let me give that plate a little wipe. All right, and let's finish this off with some of that, the rest of that guanciale. Some more pecorino. A little more black pepper. You know, some modern versions of this dish will also have like some chili flakes, something in there to make it a little bit spicy. The most sort of basic traditional version, the only heat comes from black pepper, but you can always add some spice in there if you'd like. You could add dried chilies bloomed in the fat along with the black pepper. You could also add, you know, something like a chili paste. It could be like a Calabrian chili paste, or it could just be like a chili crisp or like a Japanese chili paste. That would be good in here too. But this is sort of the most simple version of the dish. Bucatini, black pepper, guanciale, pecorino, and tomatoes. Bucatini is hard to slurp because it's got that like straw down the middle. It's similar to you know how ducks and other certain types of waterfowl can swallow fish whole, and they don't choke because they have a hole that runs down the middle of their tongue that they can breathe through. So anyway, if you're at a nice Roman restaurant and you want to swallow some whole fish, you can snake a tube of bucatini down your throat to use as an air passage. All right, spaghetti alla matriciana. It is just a variation of spaghetti alla gricia. If you're a member of the cookbook club, you'll find a few other variations of spaghetti alla gricia, because once you know how to make that dish, you know how to make a whole bunch of different Roman pasta dishes. Just like once you know how to make a Three Musketeers, you know how to make a whole bunch of candy bars. All right, guys, gals, non-binary pals, see you later. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Head over to kenjilopezalt.com. There you can find links to join my Patreon. There's various tiers with different perks, but that's where you're going to find all of my printed recipes. Most of them are for free. You'll also get access to special perks like new product releases, early access to things, live streams, AMAs. At kenjilopezalt.com, you'll also find my shop where you'll find all of my books. You can get them signed and personalized, shipped anywhere in the world, as well as my products and product collaborations. You'll also find live event listings there. I do live events sometimes. And I'd love to see you come by. All right, see you later.